Oh God! Wow. Topic one.
Topic
3
one.
hours in. Yes, that's how I envisioned it.
Well, it's 2 hours in, but I get what you're saying.
Anyway, this is my topic. I will set this off, man. Shout out to Obsidian, man. Pillars of Eternity is back in glorious turn-based. Shout out to Obsidian. They put it out on their website as well as Josh Sawyer, the video and YouTube. And public beta for turn-based mode opens November 5th. So nearly 10 years. This game later, Pillars of Eternity is getting a turn-based combat mode. They talk about all the changes and additions that they will be making to it. And obviously, this was something that came in the I believe it's called Darkfire, second one, but they're bringing it to the original PoE. But then there is more. Shout out to Chris Avellone, formerly of Obsidian, who seems to be in the know, and he actually had some other information that dropped. He said apparently, this in regards to Obsidian and what they're working on. He said apparently aside from the DLC plans for Outer Worlds 2, it seems like Obsidian is making no plans for Outer Worlds 3. But they are doing Avowed 2. So this is my topic. Obviously, I'm one of the bigger fans of Avowed as a foundational piece, and obviously it was based in the Pillars universe. And for me, this is interesting because the community is on fire. Obviously I didn't play Pillars of Eternity at all, but people really love this. I know I was speaking to Hogue, and he was just like, it is a very, deep, almost hardcore, RPG that they call it real time. I always laugh when he says it. Real time with pause. That's the gameplay of it. Sounds funny, like they doing something suspect. Real time with pause. But so apparently that gameplay style will be converted to me and Addict's beloved turn-based. It's optional. You can turn it on and off, that kind of thing. So they're definitely going back to this game 10 years later. So I thought that was interesting. But for me, as a huge Avowed fan, I thought this is a good sign that they are giving Avowed 2 a sequel, because I'll be honest, I was very upset after Avowed launched when I looked at the roadmap and it was very minimal. Like minor fixes, nothing major.
No DLC.
No DLC. And obviously, we interviewed, shout out to Maddie, when Maddie plays, we interviewed Carrie Patel, and we did talk about the initial, I would say troubled development, but they went through different iterations of Avowed before Avowed came to be. It was at one point this dark, open world Skyrim kind of game. You know what I'm saying? At one point was kind of the initial concept. And then Obsidian, obviously they interviewed with Marcus Morgan, and a lot of people over the years have explained, hey, at Fergus, Mark Day was like, hey, we want to condense it, go back to hub worlds and biomes and stuff that we do, because that's Obsidian, as opposed to trying to necessarily copy what Bethesda do and try to get back to the essence. So I thought that was dope. One thing about Avowed that I like, the Emerald Stair and just all the biomes and the vista, amazing. I felt the combat in that fantasy world is exceptional. I still prefer that world, even though Outer Worlds 2 is the better game. I prefer the world of Avowed, that fantasy setting. And again, like I said, the combat, all I got to do now is just work on the RPG aspects. So what I'm now we get the confirmation, not the confirmation, but someone who was in the know saying it about 2. I'm really excited. Man. I think that for me, Obsidian, I want them to do what they want to do. And it seems like they are literally establishing their pillar IPs. Because let's be real, y'all. Obsidian historically is known for working on other people's games. Was it KOTOR, New Vegas? So to me, this is them saying, okay, we did that.
The only exception of them working on other things is probably South Park Stick of Truth, because it was another IP, but they built that. It wasn't based off another developer. Yeah,
and I just like to see them spreading them wings. And now, this is kind of like a fourth pillar, no pun intended, like Pillars of Eternity, which is clear as day, because I wanted to know what Josh Sawyer was doing. So it's clear as day. He's working on that, doing the lore. You know how he is with Pentiment, with lore and writing and stuff like that, and making that universe great. So great. At least we kind of get an idea of what Josh is doing. Maybe they're bringing this up now to set up a future Pillars game. Maybe they want their own Baldur's Gate in-house. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that's number one. So that's one pillar. Obviously, you got Outer Worlds 2. You got Grounded, which is a hit, right? And then obviously Avowed. And I think I'm loving the fact that Avowed is getting a sequel, because regardless of how you feel, what side of the fence on you are, it's a foundational piece. And this is a conversation that me and Attica, a lot of games don't hit their stride until the sequel. And then you go, oh, okay, now and that's what I'm hoping for them. So salute to them. This was super exciting news for me. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of what they're doing, and obviously that universe. And I like it for the last thing I'll say is I like it for two reasons. One, if you like the Pillars universe, but you want to go back to the hardcore stuff, you've got this turn-based mode and maybe potential setting up a new Pillars down the road. And if you like the Avowed and you want the action, the first person, that what I'm saying? You got Avowed for that. That's still base, and I think it could coexist. And that's kind of what the last thing I was gonna say. I kind of want Halo to do that. Like, why are we just only the Halo? Like, I want more games in the universe. And I like that they're expanding their universe. So that was pretty much it. I was just fanboying out on this one. Obviously, I'm a huge Black Rock fan and Obsidian. So let's start with you, Attic. How are you feeling about this news? Excited about trying PoE, turn-based, and the rumors of Avowed 2 from Chris Avalon.
All right, so they probably wouldn't have got me to play Pillars unless they do give it a turn-based build. Clearly see the Baldur's Gate effect is serious. People see that turn base is getting more and more, fans by the year. I feel that their primary goal is to test and see it's feedback, because I feel like they're doing this with Pillar 1 probably like logistic reason. Maybe it's easier to do stuff with Pillar 1 than it was Pillar 2, because I kind of felt like if they're going to do something like this, to try it with the recent one, Pillar 2. But they did it with Pillar 1, so
I think
maybe...
that one's called Deadfire. I think Hogue told me it did have an optional mode. They added it later. I think he did. Correct me. Yeah, I feel like you may have said that.
So, in my opinion, that should be... Could kind of do like the Dragon Quest route, like the older Dragon Quest. What they allow is you choose between turn-based and action-based. So, give people the option. Now I'm looking at, Pillars of Eternity 1, and if 2 does it too, I'm looking, okay, maybe I need to try the Pillars franchise, because it's, got a lot, because I feel like that is maybe the way I saw it. It's just like, I wanted to resemble more of like a turn-based thing, because it looks like it could be that type of game. So there's that. I do feel, I'm kind of curious what Josh is working on.
Yes.
Because
Sawyer.
He could be working on Avowed 2, or he could be working on Pillars of Eternity 3. Because I feel like he could go either way. Because Carrie left, so she's no longer directing Avowed.
Right.
So he could have easily stepped in and replaced him. Or he's working on Pillars of Eternity 3.
That's what I think, yeah.
And the people from the Outer Worlds take over Avowed.
Adler, what's Adler and Singh going to be working on next? Because obviously we interviewed them. Shout out to go check out our interview with Brandon Adler and Matt Singh on Avowed. Excellent interview. Y'all got to support that, man. I'm telling you, they was dropping bars. And now we want to know what the hell they working on. That's a good point. They could grab the him now that Carrie's gone.
I feel like there's a very good chance that, because to me, Josh didn't work on Avowed.
Correct.
So part of me's like, if he came back, I really think he's working on Pillars 3.
I think so too. At minimum, doing the lore, because we know he's such a good writer.
And maybe he saw some of the missteps on Avowed when it comes to story. So maybe if he is working on Avowed 2, he's like, nah, you guys can't do this to my Pillars universe. Like we're better than this. We're better than this writing. So maybe he stepped in to try to fill, and this is just speculation, to fill in the gaps where he felt could have been better.
Yeah.
So there's that, or he could be leading both. Because both of them are in the same universe, so there wouldn't be another person that is more qualified to do those projects.
I mean, we know Avowed with the glossary. At minimum, he'll be involved with the lore and the glossary and making sure that the universe is correct, right? Because one thing Avowed does better than Outer Worlds, when it comes to that glossary, that lore and terms and all that stuff, they teach you about that universe. There's no way you not knowing what's going on in Avowed with every conversation based on the thing. Somebody in the chat said Pediment too. What's up with that?
Well, here's the thing. People
we don't need Bible verse 2.
People say, well, what missteps? I do feel, in terms of like the dialogue and the way that the universe is told, there could have been drastic improvements in that area.
For sure.
You know, just how they use some of the characters that come from the Pillars universe. Like we're talking because I looked it up because I never played a Pillars game. That witch that was in Avowed has massive lore in the Pillars franchise, and I felt like they didn't use her to the fullest. Now they used her pretty good, but it's just like I feel like maybe she should use more of an opinions, and she should have been more up to date on in the actual main story. So I think the little things like that, companions, I think they could have improved on that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So little things like that. Because here's the thing, Avowed, in my opinion, is a action-based game that is light RPG.
Yes.
So, and that's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the type of games that I like to play from Obsidian. But I do feel that Avowed, because I know a lot of people are upset over Avowed and the Outer Worlds too. There's some people, it's like, why are they, potentially?
Yeah, some people are like, yo, they want Outer Worlds 3. Why are they doing it? Or they want New Vegas.
Just because they're not working on Outer Worlds 3 right now doesn't mean that's not in the scope down the road. If they got 2 projects ahead right now, then I can understand why their mindset would not. Let's get through potentially Pillars of Eternity 3. Let's get through Grounded 2. Let's get through whatever this next project is. Then we'll see exactly what we should do if we want to revisit Outer Worlds. So it doesn't mean we'll never see that franchise again. It just means right now they're not considering it because they have a lot on their plate.
And they did say Outer Worlds 2 is getting DLC. So it's not like Outer Worlds not going to be getting content. Yeah, because the first Outer Worlds got a lot of content. Yeah.
And not to mention, like, I think the reason that if they do want to, because clearly they have chosen they have chosen Avowed 2, if we go off of what Chris said, to proceed forward, because they could have went easily with Outer Worlds 3 as well. But they have chose Avowed, and I think the reason they chose Avowed is because, like, look, Avowed's a fantasy setting, and people generally vibe more towards the fantasy settings. And I do feel that even though I disagreed with some of the aspects that they did with the Avowed, in my opinion, has a better ground foundation than the Outer Worlds does. I think you can build Avowed to be a better game overall, better universe than you can with the Outer Worlds. Are they going to go that? I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, the game ain't even officially announced. So comes down to that. It's just, here's the thing. Avowed has such a great universe that you can expand upon. It is literally their Elder Scrolls. They because of the work they did with the Pillars of Eternity franchise, they have their own they have their own Elder Scrolls franchise. They have multiple continents in this world. They can revisit them. They can start drama. Now, obviously, they're not Elder Scrolls. Right. Elder Scrolls has decades to build this lore. But at the same time, and I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, Fallout New Vegas 2." I would love a Fallout New Vegas 2, or Fallout remake. But at the same time, Todd Howard, because they're going to kind of want to get his feet back.
He now, is it sign off?
I don't think he's got to sign off. But here's the thing: Microsoft could easily snatch that from him and say Obsidian's making it. But do you realistically want to make Todd Howard mad? He's one of the key components to Bethesda. So with that being said, they're not just going to snap that away from him. They're good. In my opinion, if another company works on Fallout, it will be with the blessing of Todd Howard, unless he retires. And then at that point, I don't think they care. So it's just like, look, I would love a Fallout, but and I do think Obsidian would make a great Fallout. But at the end of the day, it's not just on Todd Howard. Obsidian's building their own franchises. Are we going to sit here and pretty much we can't sit here and scream, give devs creative freedom, but then when it's not convenient for your way that you want them to use that freedom, then you have an issue. It's like, it's either let them make the games they want to make, or is that only apply when they're making the games you don't want them to make?
Interesting. I hear you. It's a hot one. Saab, what are your thoughts? Pillars of Eternity, any experience, anything with this, or any feelings either way? And then obviously the rumors from Avowed 2 from a pretty good source. Obviously Chris Avallone, formerly of Obsidian, Fallout.
I'd be very surprised if it wasn't true.
Yeah, this seems to be, he knows in the building, again, aside from DLC plans from Outer Worlds 2, no Outer Worlds 3, but they're definitely doing Outer Worlds 2. I mean, Avowed 2 is the rumors.
Yeah, I don't think the whole idea of Outer Worlds 3 not happening, it just kind of feels like it, you got to do stuff in order. They're, as good as they are at releasing games in quick succession, I just, you got to, some stuff has to just be off the plate for a little bit while you work on other things. So, yeah, I can definitely see Outer Worlds 3 happening at some point. Avowed 2, yeah, I think they kind of have a little something to prove with that. I think I enjoyed what I played of it. I enjoyed the fact that it was kind of a more of an open world as opposed to like the hub stuff that they're usually kind of known for. They tried to expand a little bit, right, and get closer to that Elder Scrolls sort of blueprint, even though they still were doing their own thing. But I kind of feel like, yeah, like, let's take another shot at this and see what we can do, expounding upon that even more. So, like I said, like Pillars of Eternity is it is 1 and 2 are known as great CRPGs. So for them to kind of be able to finally take that universe and put it into into this the first person and kind of 3D as opposed to the sort of isometric, it speaks to the reverence they have for the universe they created, and also what kind of the suits up above feel can be done with that universe. So I just kind of feel like, yeah, that's great. Do it again, and see if you can make Maddie a believer. Maddie's a hater right now.
Maddie be hating.
Maddie be hating. He does. Beyond that, didn't Pillars of Eternity 2 launch with a turn-based mode, or is it just the Deadfire mode, or launch with turn-based? They had both.
I would have to defer to the chat because I have not played POA games. So the chat
tell me. I'm sure someone in the chat's played Pillars. Give us a synopsis in that chat.
I could have sworn 2 launched with both. So this isn't kind of new. I think again, based on if that is the case and they got a good response to the 2, it only makes sense that they go and try to do that for the first one and kind of maybe bring on certain players that maybe were not attracted to it, maybe because of sort of the more action based combat that it had. But again, and also
Chat
just
says
the fact
both, Joey Phantom says Pillars 2 had it, not 1. And then Dominic Webb said they updated it with turn-based a little later.
They updated 2 with turn-based a little bit later. It didn't launch with it.
No, it doesn't look like
that. Doesn't look like that's what the chat says.
Okay, but it did get it before this one.
I didn't know that because I've never played.
Yeah, I never played a
Pillars game.
My first Pillars game was
I could have sworn that the second one had it and it had it fairly early on. Okay, so again, it is that thing of like, is this a kind of a return to turn-based? I think we'll see because I really do think that the attraction and the zeitgeist moment with Clair Obscur and the turn base was more that, hey, they kind of did something a little bit different with it, where you had the timing based parry stuff and things like that, which kind of made it more active than what you consider traditional turn base. So I think that kind of elevated it a little bit. These games aren't that. It will be like just a true turn-based experience, and that's going to appeal to the hardcore turn-based crew. I don't know that it kind of opens it up to other different types of players that were maybe enamored with what Claire did. I don't know there's that, but again, take the opportunity when you can, right? And at this moment, turn-based seems to be more a thing. We're looking at the success that Square Enix is having, with going back to its smaller games and turn-based style games, even though they just laid off a bunch of people and But it's they brought back tactics, so it's a moment now for turn-based to kind of get that shine. So yeah, if you could do it and have people excited about it, and it give you sort of it kind of push you to more readily included in future projects, absolutely, 100% do that.
No doubt. King, your thoughts, man? I don't know where you at with this. We got Pillars coming with turn-based mode, bringing it back, and then Obsidian. The rumors are Avowed 2. Where you at?
Well, 1, I gotta finish Avowed 1. That's that. 2, I got all the Pillars games. They were gifted to me, and I've never played not one of them. Because somebody told me that, you need to be playing this because it's lit. And I'm like, all right. At that time, I was in full Destiny mode, and I was just locked in. All right, so I'm sorry, dudes don't really understand Destiny
Oh,
mode.
Destiny took
lockdown.
us away from many games. Destiny stole our lives. many franchises.
Used to play and finish games all the time until I got
Until that
locked
damn
into
game
this
came.
college course.
Destiny's really the reason I didn't review games
The
for like a
college
decade.
course.
That's the facts. Yeah, we was in
Okay.
college.
He ain't lying
We was
though.
in college.
You was doing college course games every day, and it's
I was in a
not
cult. I was legitimately in a cult for years.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, locked in, and it's very hard to get free.
When Destiny asked me to drink the juice, that's when I was like, "Yeah, this ain't a good idea." Like,
So, but listen, I'm all for them continuing to grow what they cultivated themselves.
Make their own.
I think that's the only way that you're going to show value to Microsoft, not Xbox, to Microsoft, because in the sense that that's one of the games that hasn't been announced to go to multi-plat. And I find it strange because I think it's a really, really good game, and I think it would actually sell. So I think them building up the Pillars of Eternity universe and spreading that out further, and then because Avowed is in that universe, then that game becomes more appealing because more people know about it. So I guess broadening the universe and then also pushing the game into other ecosystems, I think that it makes sense. So me personally, I'm just for the creative having the ability to make something that is theirs, not work on everything else and just be a side project or somebody to finish something off. Just have an identity.
Yeah.
And this is garnering a complete identity, and then it can grow from there. So I did like I said, I do like Avowed. I do like the fantasy RPG aspects of it. Me and turn-based, I have a love-hate. I want my turn-based to look a certain way.
Got you.
All right, so like Clay Obscure. I know you guys is like, oh my God, it's this and it's that. Yeah, okay, cool. I like my turn-based to look more like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, okay.
I like it to look 16-bit. I like it to look 32-bit. I don't like it to look modern 3D. That's just me. So if you can give me a chibi mode, I'm down with chibi mode. Give me that. I'm cool with that. Because I don't know, that's just fundamentally how my brain works. Now, RPGs done action RPGs, I like them modern looking because it gives a more dynamic flair to it. I kind of like that. Right. So, but open world RPGs done like Avowed, I absolutely first person. I can use magic in one hand. I thought Avowed was so ingenious in its weaponizing of the spells and stuff like that.
Don't even get me talk with the spell casting, man. I love that game.
I really love the game. I love the storylines of it, the consequences to certain aspects of it. So again, if that's the Pillar of Eternity world and Avowed is based in that, then yeah, I like the world. So yeah, I just want them to do more of it. Now, if the turn-based, please just make the turn-based look 16-bit / 32-bit for me. I'll be happy.
All right.
If you take it to looking like Clear Obscure and all this other stuff, I'm gonna be like, it's nice for everybody else, but for me, my taste, I just wanted a little bit pared back. I wanted a little Super Nintendo-ish for me.
Like that classic feel. Forte, final thoughts on this, man. Avowed, Two Rumors, and Pillars, turn-based, being brought back to the essence. Where you at?
No, man, I think we're all lock in step when it comes to it's always best to just cultivate something that you made yourself versus working on other things and stuff. Doesn't mean that they're still not going to do that, because I do think some of the best work they do is the stuff that they work on other people's stuff, because like the idea is there, all they got to do is just bring that stuff to life. So that might also be another reason why
Stick of Truth was a phenomenal game.
Phenomenal. So I wouldn't be surprised if why they're saying something like Outer Worlds 3, even knowing everybody just got 2 now. So why do we have to say we're working on it? We're going to make a third one. It might be another game that they will work on for somebody else in the near future. Then that's on the table like 8-9 years from now. Who knows at this point? Way this whole development cycle works.
Yeah.
So that I never look at that as a problem. The cool thing is like when it came to the first Avowed, I loved it. Like I stayed once I went third person, I never left it. I stayed in third. Like I played that game fully in third person. People was like, "You did?" I was like, "Bro." Once I saw that I was shout out to Attic. We was watching each other play, and then all of a sudden that man went third person. And I was like, "You can do that? And you can stay it. You can stay third person." So I just stayed like that the whole time, and really enjoyed the world building and everything. And then it really goes back to what Solve was saying. I just love how more open it felt versus the the concept that they had when they had like the subs and stuff. So I would love for that. I'd love to see them iterate on that and go a little bit further. When it comes to pillars, I'm with. I really speaks to what King was saying about like the stylized look of it, because I find myself loving turn-based more now than I've ever have. And it's because of the games like Solve just said with Final Fantasy going back and introducing everybody back to their older, smaller IPs that were like major IPs back then. And that art style really lends itself. Like there's not too many games like Clair Obscur out there that's going to be like, it's so good that you just kind of overlook and it just kind of takes you out of that zone.
Yeah.
And that's why that game is unique to itself. But for the most part, I've never really been interested in pillars. And for that to be something that would that be the thing that would say, oh, that would make me want to play it? Because just being turn-based isn't it. It was like more the allure to what the aesthetic of the game looks like. When I look at games like Octopath Traveler and I say, yo, this looks really cool, and it's third person, and when they do a part 2, I'm like, I'm in there. And then when I watch Bravely Default and stuff like in that Final Fantasy realm, and I really gravitate to stuff like that. So just going turn-based is a plus. It just doesn't mean that it's going to land, because every game is kind of different. That was like kind of the divisive change when Final Fantasy changed over in 15 and they went to their more open fight versus how it used to be. And then I always felt like Final Fantasy 7 remake kind of merged the two things, where it's like your turn, my turn, but then it's also based in more of an open field. So I think that's like the more traditional way you're going to see games like that go, where it's like on and off when it comes to turn-based. But listen, I will never say, especially with Obsidian, because it's one of the best studios that Microsoft have, and you will always get the best of a studio when they can do what they want to do and what they want to make. Now, does that mean it's going to be super successful?
We'll see.
But guess what? You give them that chance, because no matter what, at least they know. It's just like, going back to what I was talking about earlier, you work so hard to build something, you're just happy to see it out there. And no matter how it does, of course, you want it always to do good. You want it to be, critically acclaimed and everybody to be super happy and pleased with it and all the outcries and support that you're going to get for something like that. But it also makes you work harder on the next thing that you do, because they at least show faith that, hey, you put this out there. This is what we want you to make. And you are more willing to put more effort into that when it comes to that. So I think that's kind of more of the give-take relationship when it comes between publisher and developer. And I think this studio of all studios really gets that, because they've always made games that have spoken to not just a wider audience, but the smaller audience too, when it comes to the things that they want to make. So I'm 100% in for it, and not surprised that Outer Worlds 3 isn't really being talked about, because guess what? They're not going to do what they did 5 years ago, where they put out a trailer that says, hey, we're going to make fun of everything and say, this is what Outer Worlds 2 is going to be, and do it with 3. And guess what? And when they do decide to make Outer Worlds 3, because there more than likely will be one, they'll do the same thing again, talk about all the tropes of the 2000s going into 2030 and saying, these are all the different things that we're going to do that people think we're going to do and stuff like that. So I'm just looking forward to whatever they do in the future. But I think this is kind of a no-brainer, but also, nobody should really expect anything from that when it comes to, that type of rhetoric and conversation.
No, I agree. Agree with all y'all. Yeah, I think I'm just excited about the news. Obviously, I'm very biased towards Avowed, so this was the route I was hoping for. I'm very biased towards Josh Sawyer and see him doing what he wants to do. And he, like I said, he's one of the more exceptional minds in the game. And the only feedback I will give them with Avowed 2 is one, obviously you got the world, you got the graphics, you got the combat. Now you got to make those factions more influential, the way Outer Worlds 2, where it truly has affected the universe. And if a gameplay changes, obviously the writing, and I want more impactful choices where they're true consequence, and get back to the RPG roots that we know you're capable of, which is what we saw with our Outer Worlds 2. So I am pulling for them. I think it's a great foundational piece, and so like got. So I'm going to get these super chats before we move to the next one.
Yeah, we got two. We got Hollywood Rules, member for 45 months, Lord Silver. Happy Sunday to my New York City, West Virginia, Detroit cousins. Sorry I'm late. Been kind of crazy under the weather this week. Hope you're feeling better. Salute, General. Wishing best pod a great show.